Yavapai Broadcasting and the City of Cottonwood proudly present Inside Cottonwood, an inside look at the decisions and issues of the City of Cottonwood. Brought to you by Arizona Smile Designers.
Four weeks into the city's youth basketball season and hardwood action is heating up. Welcome to Inside Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Edition. My name is Jason Little, Recreation Manager for the City of Cottonwood. With me today I have Ryan Bigelow, the Recreation Program Supervisor. Welcome, Ryan.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Ryan, the season's progressing along quite nicely. What can you tell us?
Well, like you said, we're just past the fourth week here, and things are getting heated up. We've had a great season so far, with 3 more weeks of good action to come. Volunteer coaches doing a great job again, and they are really the heart and soul of the program, and we couldn't ask for anything more.
That's great. Ryan, we were talking, I guess it was a couple of months ago, and you briefly touched on youth basketball, and I thought today would be a good time just to kind of go into the intricacies of the program and things that people might not understand, and I thought you'd be the resident expert.
I hope
so. Just starting off, how many teams do you have this year?
Total, we have 20 teams this season, which is a good number. We're up from last year. We've got 8 Mighty Mites teams. Those are our 7 to 9-year-olds, co-ed. We have 5 Power Division 1, 10, 11-year-old boys, 4 Power Division 2, that's 12, 13, and 14-year-old boys, and 3 girls teams, that's 10 to 14-year-old girls. So a wide variety, nearly 200 kids participating, so there's something for everybody out there.
I was just looking at the pictures actually on the screen there, and it looked as though the middle school's open again. I heard they had some problems with their floor, and by the looks of the pictures, it looks really nice. How'd that turn out? What happened?
They had some water damage over there, so we were cutting it close as to whether we were going to be able to use their facility this year, but we worked pretty closely with Bill Sanderlin and David Snyder, and they kept us in the loop, and they got a great looking floor over there. They've always done a great job with us and worked well with us and let us use their facility, and we're just so thankful that they let us use it this year, and hopefully we can continue to use their gym.
Okay, Ryan, earlier you said you had 4 divisions, Mighty Mites, Power Division 1, 2, and the girls. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of volunteers to make things happen. I don't want to leave anyone out, so I thought today it would be good for us to at least recognize and mention everyone. Starting with the Mighty Mites, who are some of your coaches down there?
Well, like I said before, we have 8 teams for the Mighty Mites, and a really strong group of coaches who really get the philosophy and principles of the league. In no particular order, we have David Rodriguez, Max Maxon, Jeremy Peters, Kelly Wilson, Brandon Figge, John Cook, Dylan Ross, and Micah Owens, and several of those coaches are returners. It's always nice to have 2nd, 3rd year coaches who understand the program, and it's been a nice influx of new coaches this year too.
It really sounds like it. A lot of those names are familiar. I've heard them, and I was going to get into it a little later, but some of those people you mentioned actually played in the league when I first started working for the city.
Oh my goodness.
So that was quite some time ago. Upon examination of the standings, I noticed that every team in the Mighty Mice division has at least 1 win, half, 2. How do you keep it so balanced?
I think it's a little bit of luck. I think it's a little bit of nature, and I hope it has something to do with our draft process. But 7 to 9-year-olds just by nature are pretty equal. Nobody has that many more years of experience than anybody else. And then we also do an evaluation process. So hopefully we have something to do with evening out the teams, and that's what we strive for.
That's fantastic. I'm familiar with a lot of the other sports here in town. You got football, you got baseball, and they handle the draft quite differently. One year you might be down, but you keep a core group of kids, typically, like 9-year-olds in the 9 and 10-year-old division. Next year they're going to be 10, so they're going to be a lot stronger, and they're going to perform, at a higher level. Ours is quite different. Can you explain that in a little more detail?
Sure. With ours, we don't keep this kids on the same teams. Every year we start with a fresh slate. You might see, you might be able to draft a kid that you saw last year, but there's also the opportunity that they're not going to be on your team. We start, like I said before, with an evaluation. We require that all the kids come to an evaluation, and then we go with a draft process to make it as fair and as equal as possible. You know, like I said before, some of the coaches will try to draft their kids that they've seen from the last year, but that always won't be the opportunity for them. So a lot of different kids get to see a lot of different coaches, and that way, hopefully, we're keeping it pretty even.
I like that. Goals and objectives. I understand you outline goals and objectives for both the coaches and the players. Can you briefly tell the audience what they are, what you strive to teach these people?
Yeah, sure. This year we went a step farther and included the parents in those goals and objectives. And the number one goal for this season is to have fun, not only with the kids, but the coaches and the parents. You know, we want this to be an enjoyable experience for everybody. The second was to learn good sportsmanship. We want that to be instilled in all of our players, you know. There's more to sport than just learning how to dribble a basketball. But that being said, our third goal was to learn the fundamentals. We really want these kids to learn enough about basketball to be able to play in a pickup game when they're older. This can be a lifelong skill for them. And it's not just about winning and losing, it's about learning something.
What would you consider the league philosophy to be, if there was one?
Well, from the very beginning, as far as I know, I've been here, this is my 5th season, the philosophy has been to learn some life lessons out of the game, learn respect for your coaches and officials, and like I said before, there's more to sport than just learning how to throw or dribble or run fast. We hope that these kids are learning how to respect the game and learn some really fundamental, essential life lessons out of it.
This time of year, NCAA men's basketball, it's in full swing. Kids usually sit on the weekends throughout the week and they watch games and they get excited, they want to play. What dictates eligibility?
Well, we use the age as of January 1st. If you are a 7-year-old as of January 1st, then you're good to play. We max that out at 14. We've tried to get some boys older than that to play. That's been a struggle for us in the past years, but they are eligible to sign up. And also I want to mention that the middle school kids can also play in our league. A lot of kids think that because they've made the middle school team, they can't play both. We actually encourage it. If they can come and make one of our practices a week, then we'd like to see them out there.
Yeah, just to lament on that quickly. When I first started, I guess it was 1998, something like that.
You're dating yourself.
Yeah, no kidding. That was a long time ago. The premier players that you saw at Mingus in the early part of the decade, they did play both. People like Jeff Cook. You had a lot of other people who, he just comes to mind, who did play both. And I think that really helps them to refine their skills because it not only, one, gives them more time on the court, but it also helps them to be a better leader for others.
Absolutely.
And I think that you hit nail on the head. If they have the opportunity and the time to play both, I think that they should consider that. The more touches you get and the more practice you get, of course, the better off you're going to be.
Absolutely.
As with every division, there are rules that are unique in and of themselves to that particular division and that age group. What are some of those for the 7 to 9-year-old kids?
The Mighty Mites. It is a co-ed division, so we do have boys and girls. We don't allow a full court press there. We try to give them the opportunity to get the ball up the court. And also that's something that we try to do is teach while we're out there. And if there's a travel or a double dribble, we'll blow the whistle, we'll stop the game. But it won't be a turnover. We'll allow the kids to maintain possession and try and teach them exactly what it is that they did so that the next time they get the ball, you know, they're not repeating the same offense.
Good answer. Before we go into break, I don't necessarily like to single out youth, but when I know you're there every Saturday, you get to see these youth play. Are there some names of kids who stand out in that little division right now? Yeah,
it's fun to watch these kids grow up. You know, me being my 5th year now, it's you see the kids and you see them progress from year to year. One particular that sticks out to me is a girl named Megan Landell. Last year she had Troy Hoke, and Troy worked with her really hard to get her to be a better basketball player and really enjoy the game. And that's shown this year. She's got Brandon Figge as her coach, and she actually last week scored 2 baskets, and the crowd went wild, and that's a really big deal for us as a league to see some of those kids who've never touched a basketball before in their second year be able to score 2 baskets in a game.
That's fantastic. Megan Lindell, you're now a TV star. I guess leading us into break, Ryan, could you let the audience know where games are played, what times, if they'd like to come out and watch?
Sure. Saturdays, the Cottonwood Recreation Center. We start games at 8:15. We play the Mighty Mites until 11:15, and then we jump into our girls' games. They're also played at the Rec Center. The Power Division 1 and Power Division 2, like we talked about before, are both played at the middle school.
Still waking up here in the morning. We'll see you guys in a few.
Smile Designers, offering complete, comprehensive, restorative, and aesthetic dentistry. Dr. Vergara and Dr. Lord specialize in dental health, implants, and cosmetic dental procedures. Expert staff and state-of-the-art equipment bring forth the most from your smile. Dr. Ripplinger conveniently comes to Arizona Smile Designers for oral surgery and complicated procedures. Visit Arizona Smile Designers at 350 South Willard in Cottonwood. Insurance and new patients are welcome. Call 634-8610.
Arms are facing down. Bend that front knee. Tuck the tailbone. Sink the shoulders. Look over that left middle finger. Inhale here, ladies. Exhale. Open the arms. Deeper, deeper. There we go. Okay, now focus. And find that special place that brings you joy.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood, Parks and Recreation Edition. My name's Jason Little, Recreation Manager for the City of Cottonwood, and with me today I have Ryan Bigelow, Recreation Program Supervisor. Basketball is what we're talking about today, one of my favorite sports, and I know it's one of Ryan's as well. As we went into break, Ryan, we were talking about the 7 to 9-year-old division. You said you had 3 other divisions. I guess the next one would be Power Division 1. What ages define Power Division 1?
Power Division 1 is our 10 and 11-year-old boys. It's that transitional period from the Mighty Mites to the Power Division 2. So it's a big jump for the kids. They get on the bigger court for the first time. They use a bigger size ball for the first time, and their violations are called a little more strictly for the first time. So it's definitely a transitional period, but definitely also very educational for those kids.
Right. When I was actually in your position and ran the leagues like you do now, that was my favorite division. The kids they're starting to grasp the concepts. They understand you're moving them back from an 8-foot free throw back to the regulation free throw.
Yep.
You can press when you're behind, and we'll get into that in a little bit. And it's more fluid basketball. And I really enjoyed watching that division because the kids are still very coachable. They listen. It was one of my favorites. How many teams do you have in that league?
That's 5 teams this year. That's a pretty standard since I've been here, about 5 teams for the Power Division 2. It's a nice number to have. Everybody gets to play each other several times, and that's something I also look forward to every day is go and see the Power Division 1. And you see really big strides at that level. Like we said before, it's very educational. So from the first game to the last game, those kids improve immensely.
Similar to the Mighty Mites, can you just briefly mention some of your volunteer coaches in that division?
Yeah, again, another really good core group of people, good individuals, and some actually very knowledgeable basketball people. Tandy Taylor's one of them. She's been doing this since I've been here, and I think beyond that, so she's very experienced. Alicia Sorensen is in her first year. Denise Diedrich has done this for several years. Mark Simmons, and he's been helped a lot by Dennis Blonars, and then Zach Calandra as well, another really good group of volunteer coaches.
You briefly touched on some of the rules. A lot of people, if they come and watch and they're not familiar with what we do, they'll say, why are they only pressing when they're behind? Why aren't they pressing now? Momentum swung in their direction. Why are things running the way they are? Can you go into a little more detail about some of the rules that apply to this league?
Yeah, absolutely. To keep games from getting into a blowout situation, which they might, pressing, we only allow up to a certain point. Just recently we've removed the zone defense to try and work on the fundamentals of the man-to-man. It really is just to better the kids' experience as much as we can and make it as close of a game as possible. Just last week we had back-to-back overtime games, for example, and as hard as that it can be on the officials, that's what we want for the kids. We want them to be in good competitive games as much as we can.
Exactly. A lot of coaches also, the league's for fun.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that. However, there is a degree of accountability. I know sometimes you'll catch a little flack over playing time for kids. However, it is important to point out that if you miss practices and things like that, a coach is going to use his discretion and try to be fair, but sometimes the playing time won't necessarily be the same for everyone. Can you explain the playing time rule in that division?
We throughout our leagues, we try to keep the playing time as fair and as 50-50 as possible, but there are, we also give the coaches the ability to use their best judgment as far as kids missing practice, if school's not going the way that they want them to go, or just in general, if they're not listening to what they're supposed to be doing at practice, then playing time is the number one thing we can take away. We encourage the volunteer coaches to keep track of playing time. Our scorekeepers keep track of playing time, so we can go back and look at it and make sure that throughout the season we're as close to 50-50 as we can.
For the audience, can you break down timing regulation and league philosophy and reasoning behind the timing regulations?
Yeah, we do the 8-minute quarters for this division. It keeps the game at about an hour, so we can schedule our games on an hourly basis. We stop the clocks in the last 2 minutes of the first half and the last 2 minutes of the game. Those are important and crucial times of a game where we don't want to allow, say for instance, a team to go to the free throw line and stall and take as much time as they can. That's pretty general basketball rule to stop clocks closer to the end of games and halves.
When coaches would apply, and I was trying to pull their arm to get them to commit to helping us out,
mm-hmm.
I always called it a 30-hour commitment. It is a lot more than that. However, if you have a child in the league, what are the league's and the coach's expectations as far as practicing? How many times a week would your child practice?
It is quite the commitment for both parents and coaches, but we try to keep it reasonable, make it manageable for everybody, because we know that basketball is not your entire life. But they will practice twice a week for an hour, and then their games will be on Saturdays, and those games typically last about an hour as well. Add it all up, like you said, 30 hours, but volunteer coaches also, will need to spend some time on the telephone, managing their teams, managing and coordinating parents and times and things like that. But overall, it's a manageable experience, and hopefully for the parents of the kids that they're able to do that and make that 3-hour-a-week commitment.
Every Parks and Recreation agency-wide has their own philosophy about goal sizes and things like that. Can you briefly touch upon how we regulate the strength of players and why we don't lower the goals and how we just go to different ball sizes?
Yeah, for our little guys, we use the junior size basketball. That's a 27.5-inch ball. That gives the kids the opportunity to get a smaller ball up to the 10-foot goal. There's arguments for and against lowering the baskets, all reasonable. We've decided to keep our baskets at 10 feet. One, because prior to having the rec center, we didn't have the option to lower the goals. And two, we found that giving them a smaller ball allows them to get the ball up to the basket, and still gets them the practice on the goal that they're going to have to be shooting at the rest of their lives. So doesn't come as a shock when they do move up to the next level, that, oh goodness, the basket's at 10 feet now. And as far as I know, and as far as we've done this, it's worked out to our benefit.
Okay, how do you instruct your officials to call violations in this league? You briefly touched upon in the Mighty Mites League, they don't necessarily let things go, but they also coach them. It's like having the fifth man out there.
Yeah, we try and have our officials let them know what it is that they did. Again, this is a transitional period, so there is a giant leap from the first game to the last game as far as skill sets in this league. A lot of those travels start to go away. The footwork gets a lot better. They understand 3 seconds in the key. That's a big one that we stress to our officials to make sure that they understand where they need to be. Rules and regulations are learned to a whole nother degree at this group.
Exactly, and once again, I don't necessarily want you to point out a lot of people, but are there some players in this division that really, when you watch them play, you're like, wow, they have some skills? Well,
yeah, there's a few kids that stick out that you can always see every year that you know will probably end up playing for a high school team somewhere. They're definitely playing for the middle school team. But there's one boy, his name is Jarrett, and I'm sorry, his last name passes me by. He plays for the Knicks. He came into the season without touching a basketball before or playing in our leagues at all. He now has had back-to-back games where he's hit the last-second buzzer beater, but they've been 2 seconds too late. His team's actually ended up winning last week, and I think he led his team in scoring and steals for that game. So we had a kid who had never played before, and by week 5 is making improvements, leaps and bounds, and that's exactly what this league is about.
Earlier you were talking about Tandy Taylor coaching this year. She's actually been with us since CJ and Lachey played, and I think CJ's a junior in college this year.
Wow.
So she's been with us for quite some time.
She does a great job.
Leading us into our second break, can you tell us where people can watch Jarrett with the Knicks play this weekend?
Yeah, they along with Power Division 1 and Power Division 2 are at the middle school. Our games over there will start at 8 o'clock, and our last game will start at noon. No admission, so if you've got a free Saturday morning and you want to come by and swing by and watch, we welcome you to come by.
Still plenty left to talk about. City of Cottonwood Youth Basketball League.
Welcome to Happy House. #1 in customer service. There's simply no better place to be.
Meet the team at Arizona Smile Designers, offering complete comprehensive, restorative, and aesthetic dentistry. Dr. Vergara and Dr. Lord specialize in dental health, implants, and cosmetic dental procedures. Expert staff and state-of-the-art equipment bring forth the most from your smile. Dr. Ripplinger conveniently comes to Arizona Smile Designers for oral surgery and complicated procedures. Visit Arizona Smile Designers at 350 South Willard in Cottonwood. Insurance and new patients are welcome. Call 634-8610.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood, the show that keeps you in the know of everything going on in your community. And today we're discussing youth basketball. My name is Jason Little, Recreation Manager for the City of Cottonwood, and with me today I have Ryan Bigelow, the Recreation Program Supervisor. Ryan, leading in the break, we were talking about Power Division 1 and Mighty Mites. We're progressing quite rapidly through our 30-minute segment here, and I'd like to go ahead and in the last few minutes talk about the Power Division 2 and the girls' leagues. What is the game philosophy conveyed to coaches for the Power Division 2 and the girls' divisions?
That's our highest levels, so we're really trying to prepare those kids who want to move on and go to the Mingus High School and actually play there get to that next level. So our goal is to get those kids in the gym as much as possible, playing at a higher level, and being officiated at a little bit of a higher level as well. Calls a little bit closer, trying to develop those skills that will allow them to play at the next level.
Who are the coaches in these divisions, Ryan?
Again, I can't say it enough. We've got some excellent volunteer coaches. For the girls, we have Sevio Cerna, Rick Finley, and a team of the Grandy parents. They're both, Sandra and her husband are helping out with the Storm. For the Power Division 2, we have new coach Sean Rutledge, Jeff Cook, like you've mentioned, David Snyder, and Ivan Anderson.
Sounds like you got quite a core there. That's fantastic. When and where are these games played? I know that you play in multiple locations, and we're going to touch on that here coming up. But are these games in the middle school or the recreation center? Because I would hate for someone to come out and want to watch a Power Division 2 game and go to the wrong spot.
Yeah, the girls are at the rec center. We use them they play right after the Mighty Mites, so they have 12-15 and 1-15 games over there at the rec center. The Power Division 2 is at the middle school, and they alternate with the Power Division 1 as far as early games and late games, so they could play anywhere from 8 a.m. to 12 noon.
We've been talking about a lot of volunteers. A lot of times there's a few that go unmentioned. Who are the guys wearing stripes for you on Saturdays?
Well, these guys have one of the hardest jobs, and I've found that out firsthand the last couple of weeks. But we use Luke Simmons and Don Buss for our Mighty Mites division. Luke continues to ref all day. He's our superstar out there, and then he refs with Joe Perez for the girls. And then we've got Tim Hay and Frank Soki, the guys who've been doing the Power Division 1 and Power Division 2 for years. And like I said, I got stuck with the whistle the last couple of weeks, and those guys do a tremendous job. It is one of the more difficult jobs in the world, and if people have never done it, they have no idea the scrutiny of holding the whistle and wearing stripes. It can be very difficult, and we're very pleased with what we have as far as officials.
Are you talking about the same Luke Simmons, the quarterback for Mingus?
That's him, yep, that's him.
Is he a junior or a senior this year?
I believe he's a senior this year, and he's looking at schools as we speak. That's one of the reasons he had to miss last week was I believe he was taking his SATs. Do
you know where he's applying to go to college? Have you talked to him?
Luke is, I don't want to divulge into too much of his personal business, but I believe he's looking at the Air Force. So he's a quality student, a quality kid, and he will have his choices of schools, I'm sure.
Fantastic. Scorekeepers. I'm sure you have a lot of scorekeepers. I don't want to leave them out too. It's nice to address and mention everyone who is involved in this, because it is primarily a volunteer league. Who are they?
Yeah, it's definitely a total team effort. We rely on our scorekeepers to know obviously the score of the game, keep track of playing time, and monitor the clock as well. So, they do play an important role. Unfortunately, they're one of those people that you don't notice unless something goes wrong. So hopefully they're not too noticeable out there. But Robert Valentin, Michaela Lennon, Chris Diedrich, and Katie Blunt have been our primary scorekeepers this season.
Fantastic. Ryan, we couldn't do it without COCSD, Barb Urin, David Snyder. 22 teams, or 20 teams. They can't all practice at the recreation center in the middle school because they're also running their various leagues and programs over there. Where else do you practice?
Well, again, we've had a great relationship with the Cottonwood Oak Creek School District. They've been more than gracious with us. We use DDB as well as Tavasi, and like you said, the middle school. And also Verde Baptist Church this season has allowed us, since we do have that 20 teams, there's only a certain amount of gyms in this town, and we try to utilize as many of them as we can. The rec center being our primary location, but we've had to venture out, and the community's really responded and let us get into there and provide this program.
High school coaches has been a topic of discussion for you and I for years now. We've talked about when we grew up how you, as a 5 and 6 and 7-year-old youth, would always get to meet your high school coach. They would come down, they would work with you. They would bring the high school players down to work with you as well. What kind of a relationship does the city and you have with our current coaches, Mr. Owens and Micah Swinson up at the high school?
We continue to develop a very good relationship with the high school coaches. Micah, since he's gotten the head job as the girls coach, has been very involved with our program, providing some summer work as well as a coaches clinic at the beginning of the season for all the coaches to learn some basic drills to teach during their practices. This year's the first year for Coach Mark Owens, and he's been tremendous. He's I guess good news, he's got my cell phone number and he tends to use it every once in a while, so we've been in contact quite a bit. He's actually been seen at several of the games, provided a camp for their older kids this year. He's talked highly about some of our kids and looking forward to getting some of them in a Mingus jersey.
Do we have any background on Mark? I know that he played collegiately. Do you know anything specifically about the coach?
I do know that he's had some experience at Drake University and also at a high school down in Tempe. So, and as a player, he played. I'm not sure exactly where, but I know he's got basketball in the blood along with his brother Micah, and they're doing a great job there at Mingus. Yeah,
in the Missouri Valley Conference, I'm quite familiar with it. That's
yes,
where I attended college as well. So anyway, if you had to look at your crop of youth who play in these divisions, do you see any of these girls and boys suiting up for the red and gray in the near future?
I can only hope and assume that we will. We went back and looked, and it looks like a really good portion of the varsity teams for both boys and girls have gone through our program at one point or another, and we can only hope that can continue. And I won't give any of the scouting reports away, but both of the coaches have talked to me about some specific kids who they've seen and are really licking their chops at getting there at the varsity level.
That's great. A special thanks to Susan Knight at the high school. I actually contacted her yesterday and had her send me the rosters for both the boys and girls teams, and just a little snippet of information. 10 of the 14 boys on the varsity roster came through the City of Cottonwood Parks and Recreation Department's Youth Basketball League, and all but 2 of the girls on the varsity team came through our league as well. So that's a testament to start them young, develop their skills, and hopefully they'll progress. And with good coaching, good role models coming from the high school levels, hopefully they'll be suiting up on the varsity level. I guess in ending, I understand there's something special in the works, and I can't thank Verde Valley Television enough and Ryan Nichols, but can you fill us in on what's going to be happening here in the near future?
Yeah, we have a great opportunity to get some of these kids televised. It's been decided that the Power Division II League would be the best fit, just to try to do 2 games. Mingus Union High School is going to work with us and allow us to use their gym, and we're going to get in there and we're going to film and televise the 2 games played on February 18th. So a great opportunity for us, a great opportunity for the kids to see themselves play on TV, and a great opportunity for everybody to get out there and come and watch those kids.
Well, in ending, Ryan, I just would like to thank you for being here today. Everything you provided myself, it was a good refresher, and for the audience, I hope they enjoyed learning a little bit more about our youth basketball program. And for all of you out there, check your guide, check the internet. Get ready for some games coming out February 18th, thanks to Verde Valley Television and Ryan Nichols.